Hi everybody, how's it going today? Thanks for watching. I've been kind of lazy with the camera here, but I did do some filming at our open house, which is well, a little over a week ago from today. But I didn't really film an intro or an outro, so I thought I'd do that here. Got some drone footage of the open house, and then I did jump on a trailer. I think it was near the end of the day, and went around with the trailer with the tour guide. And then I also did some drone footage of us chopping the rye, because we had our open house on Sunday. We mowed the rye Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening. We had a little shot of rain. Monday morning, like a 10th or something like that, so that we couldn't chop until Tuesday morning. But chopped the rye Tuesday morning, put manure on it Wednesday afternoon, or started Wednesday afternoon. They finished Thursday evening because they had a problem with the track on their tractor. I didn't film any of that. And then we let that dry out. And we seeded sorghum on that rye field here after the manure dried up here a couple days ago. And hopefully in about 30 to 40 days we'll be cutting and chopping that. But I'll show you guys that once we get into that. But anyways, just got a few some drone footage and some filming of one of the trips around the farm with the tour guide. Put that in the video here, and then we'll catch up with you guys after that footage. Of Bedaf dairy, so thanks for coming today. We're going to start out in the north barn. There's 4 pens of cows, 6 rows of cows, 6 rows of stalls. I'm going to point out some interesting spots about the barn. If there's a question though for your newbies, just raise your hand and yell. First thing you notice on this, when we enter the barn here, you see 2 rows of feed, right? So it's the same ration feeds this whole barn. We got 4 high production pens of cows here. So there's 3 rows of cows on each side. The really cool part about the barn is it's bedded with sand. So that's the most comfortable thing a cow can lay on is sand. It's the best for the cow. So this ration you're looking at consists of corn silage, baleage, wheat bits from Carrington, stillers from Spirit Woods, canola meal from Velva, raised high moisture corn from Oakley, and a little bit of the base mix. And this pile of feed is 120 pounds of feed per cow. 120 pounds. So it's like a little over 60 pounds of dry matter each cow eats. And then there's 3 waters in each pen. So the big thing about intake is water. So you got waters at each end, you got waters in the center, on each pen. And if you look at all those fans that are blowing air, there's like 2 rows of fans. They're
see cows standing, eating, or you want to see them laying down, chewing their cud? That's what you want to see. Then we got button. One thing I haven't told every group today, but you get some special speeds here. But anyway, see those orange buttons in there? Those orange buttons record how much the cow is eating, how often she's chewing her cud, how often she's laying down. It just gives us, and then the other thing it tells us, when she's in heat, which is a big deal on a bunch of cows. So it helps with reproduction. So, but you can see today it's 80-some degrees. The cows are a piece of cake, even with the smoky air. Barn, it is not phasing. So that's the highlights of a lactation barn, right? So then this barn to the east here, this is where the calves go after the barn. Oh, question.
What do you do with all the sand?
You gotta speak up like a big
What do
voice.
you do with all the sand?
Okay, the sand, great question. We reclaim it.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a building up here. Hang on to that, but we reclaim it. Calves go in here after they're born. They're in there for about 4 weeks. And then we'll continue the calf discussion as we go down here. Another question. This might be. Can somebody help me on that?
If a cow dies, what do you do?
And she goes where all cows go. Right? Yeah. Yeah, it's just one of them stories that you just got to deal with it, right? Yeah. Some of them do, some it happens though, right? So we do the best we can though with them, right? This barn here, we're not going to go through it, but it's where the fresh cows start after they calve, which leads us to this barn, which is the close-up barn. This is where the cows come for 2 to 3 weeks before they calve. So this is the barn that they calve out in. And the bedding's different here, right? It's wheat straw. So that provides a nice environment for when the calf is born. The calf drops into a clean, bedded pig stall, right? All the room she needs. She's got plenty of waters. We got fans blowing down across the pens. You'll see in there. Different than in the dairy barn, and then they get their own ration. It's a different ration because it's not a production ration. It's a gearing up ration for her to calve on. So the cows don't all get the same ration, right? And then when we come up at the east end of the door, we'll talk about calves. See how content these cows are. They're just laying in a bed and back, not fighting the sun. Because if the cows were outside, they'd be looking for trees and breeze and blah blah blah. And there it's just like a piece of egg.
What's the pink dye on them?
Pete likes the colors, cows. No, it's for like if they're working cows, they gotta move them between pens, or if the vet needs to do something with the cow, then it's a color code. So you won't just see pink dots, you'll probably see some other stuff. So over here now, so the calves come out of that barn over there to the north, so about 4 weeks, then they come over here and then they go in their social groups, right? So these calves here are getting closer to 2.5 plus months or whatever. But here they're in groups of 6. They come over here though and they start down here from that barn and they still get milk. The buckets end, that's when the milk replacer ends in the whole milk, okay? And then they go into just water and grain. But one thing about these calves, they get free choice. They can eat as much as they want and drink as much as they want. Because you can they'll never get too far ahead of you. But you can see how nice they are and how their condition is good and no storm and stuff. But yeah, tell me how tough those calves are, right? And Pete puts toys out for his calves too, so I'm just gonna leave that alone. Not quite soccer ball, but it's kind of, something. 4-Hers were over here on this side earlier, showing their cattle. Bedaf started that program many years ago, where there's not many dairy cattle in this county, so they would do a lease program or kids could be in 4-H, and then they continue that program on, and they show us cattle at the county fair. Good program. Out here, you got some baleage. Yeah, there's a hay grower from down south somewhere brings up baleage in these wrap bales. Look like big, I don't know, just big bales of hay. Yeah, really good stuff though. Makes the cows milk like the wind. Right, Ken? Right.
What about the sand bedding?
They're everywhere. These white bales, they're everywhere. Oh yeah, they act as bumpers and everything. Yep. So over here, we're not turned over that way, but all these cement bunkers over there, that's where all the commodities go for making the batch mixes and the TMRs for all these different rations. Yep. So so you'll have flour and wheat bins, and distillers, and canola, and the baleage is way over in the east lot there. That gets mixed in. Makes this really good ration with this great alfalfa from down south.
John, we got a question back here.
Oh, question! Oh, I hope you can answer it. Go ahead.
What do you do if the bales are rotten?
If they're rotten, that's why they got wrapped in plastic. They're never rotten.
No.
Yeah. See, that was a great question. By wrapping those bales in plastic, they never rot, right? Because they're protected. That's a great question. Then we just get after Ken if we got not enough wrap. So then the calves from that south end, then they come over to this barn. This is the Heifer facility. Then they go into these groups of greater than 16, and then they get their own ration. They're bedded on wheat straw, right? So you can see how happy they are. And then all of a sudden they start getting a TMR over here, right? So their ration is set up so that they gain weight at the speed that we want them to gain. So it's not a production ration, it's a growing ration. And then they all got their own waters and they got their fans. And yeah, so they all get their own ration. So everybody gets what they need. Even the good alfalfa. But that only goes to special cows. Like good alfalfa. And then 2 or 3 weeks prior to gabbing, then they go over to that bedded pack and we send the close-up ration. Then these cows over here, part of the test, by the way, these are the confirmed pregnant heifers. So this is where they'll start. And then when they hit like 7 months pregnant, then they'll start sliding into these dry cow rations. And then heifers will calve at like 22 to 24 months. That's when the cow she'll have her first calf. So they got to get that old, mature enough to do it. Right? Probably 15% typically. Depends on how many days to drive Connie gives me. Yeah, we're going to arm wrestle with Connie. Yeah, it's double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword. So, questions? It's a fast. Test will be at the end. It'll be like pass-fail. It's not bad. Cows & Co. Creamery is open today, 3 miles east. Cows & Co. Creamery is open 3 miles east, just for you. More gelato, more Gouda, chocolate milk. Any questions?
You have a question? What's your question?
What if the
Good day.
cows?
Oh, yep.
What if the cow drinks so much milk?
What if she makes too much milk?
Yeah.
Thankfully, you know how that works? When we come around the corner, did you see that silo? We can't fill it. It holds so much milk. So we don't ever have a problem like that. So she can make as much milk as she wants, that cow you're talking about. Did you see the silo? This big tower? See that? It's got that cow on the top of it? You can never fill that silo. It's just in case of weather. So she can make as much milk as she wants. Great question.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed that footage. Got questions, comments, post them down below. Appreciate you guys watching, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video.